But taste is in the head, not in the mouth. Food is not only fuel for the body, it is also a pleasure for the senses. The perception of taste takes place in the brain and is a combination of stimuli received from taste and smell receptors. The sense of taste appears in the embryonic stage, but the number and diversity of receptors vary from one person to another. In other words, we are all different when it comes to tastes. Things are more complicated than that. Any taste experience has two components. An anatomical one, which means the perception of the four basic tastes: sour, bitter, sweet, and salty. An emotional one, which corresponds to the words I like, I don't like. The food is mentally associated with a certain feeling or experience had during the tasting. Food is a fundamental aspect of our lives, not only because it provides the necessary nutrients for our bodies to function properly, but also because it can be a source of great pleasure and satisfaction. The experience of taste is one of the main factors that contribute to this pleasure, as it involves not only the physiological sensation of the food on our tongue but also the emotional response it elicits. The perception of taste occurs in the brain, which receives stimuli from both the taste and smell receptors in our mouth and nose, respectively. These stimuli are then processed and interpreted by the brain, resulting in the perception of various tastes such as sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. However, the number and diversity of these receptors can vary from person to person, which is why some people may be more sensitive to certain tastes than others. Additionally, the experience of taste is not solely dependent on the physiological response to the food we eat, but also on the emotional response it elicits. This emotional response can be influenced by various factors, such as our cultural background, previous experiences with certain foods, and personal preferences. For example, someone may have a negative emotional response to a food they once had a bad experience with, even if the physiological response is neutral. Furthermore, our perception of taste can also be influenced by other factors such as the appearance, texture, and temperature of the food. All of these factors come together to create a unique taste experience that is different for each individual. Ultimately, food is not only fuel for our bodies but also a source of pleasure and enjoyment that is deeply intertwined with our personal experiences and emotions. In conclusion, the real taste of a product does not matter. It matters what projection we make on it. Other than sugar, we are not genetically programmed to love a food. All the food preferences we develop over time are the result of taste experiences. The emotional aspect is important, especially when diversifying children's nutrition. If you force them to eat or don't cook a certain food to their liking, you run the risk of them developing an aversion to many dishes. Children's participation in kitchen activities is essential for their friendship with food. The atmosphere around the table and the way other family members appreciate a certain product will make the child consume it even if the taste is difficult to accept. The best example is the bitter taste. There are children who enjoy endive salad simply because the whole family does it. The taste is not about the food, but about the person. Regardless of our anatomical DNA, the education of taste is done according to the environment and the emotional context. Taste is learned and diversified based on pleasant food experiences. Memory is more important than taste when it comes to food.